What happened to the smartest kid in your class? Got a full ride to Harvard. Did an internship his first summer at Intel and was killed by a drunk driver a few weeks after arriving in California. Fucking couldn't believe it when it happened 25 years ago. Still can't really. He got sick with a rare stomach disease and isn't doing too good. I believe he works for NASA. He deleted his Facebook a while ago, like the smartest kid in our class would do, but that's what he was doing last I checked. There were two. They were twins. They're both geneticists now with PhDs, and they work at the same university. Smartest guy from my high school became an actual rocket scientist. Fentail happened to her. Married the most abusive guy ever and had 3 kids. Divorced. He's in jail for murder. Came as a surprise. The smartest kid in my school was really popular, and was one of my closest friends. But when he graduated he left everyone and everything behind including his family. He even changed his name. I found out this little bit of information because a friend went to an academic conference and showed me a group photo and he was in it. I exclaimed, "That's my friend Pascal." He kept his first name but his last name was an anagram of his original name. Died from a brain tumor right after he graduated high school. He was dang smart. Could play the piano upside down too. There are 2. I remember one of them crying when they got an A on a test in like 7th grade. One of them, the one who cried, is an executive in a Fortune 500 company. Nothing special but making a lot of money. The other one is a brain surgeon. She worked at Johns Hopkins doing research with psilocybin. After never having even smoked a cigarette or drank alcohol in high school, straight as all the way through, he got a full ride to a really good university. As a freshman he dropped acid, walked out in front of a car and was killed. He moved to Poland and became a molecular biologist. He went to MIT, works for Apple, and has a very expensive home in California. He also has a wife and 4 kids and seems to be very happy. I remember he was programming games in high school and was valedictorian. A big nerd who became a wealthy big nerd. Disappeared into a shadowy government job. Poof, gone. Edit, wow, this exploded, almost like the US government headhunts like any other business I guess. Which profession has the most FK'd up people in it? As a CPS worker, the investigation supervisors were all having affairs and one strangled the new hire in the office. Our judge got a DUI. Even HR was sleeping with the office manager. I was a busboy at 16 years old. The very first staff meeting I attended, management started off by telling us no more doing coke in the parking lot. Our guests are not fucking blind. I was literally a church-going altar boy and was scared to work there, but everyone was a high-energy character and kinda looked out for me. There was a bunch of slamming, yelling, cursing, and fighting, but nobody was malicious. After college, I worked in finance, a boiler room sales office, and those guys were a bunch of entitled, greedy, racist, elitist, narcissistic, violent douchebags. The first week I was killing it and thought I could put up with the toxic environment, because the money was great. I quit by the end of the week. People that work in car dealerships. The car business is full of degenerates. People I have met who are life coaches seem to be the most wackadoodle people ever. Ms. High stress, odd hours, and in most of the country ridiculously low pay. There's a lot of phenomenal medics whose lives are an absolute mess. Film industry. Lots of egomaniacs and emotionally unavailable individuals. 10+ hour days with lots of unforeseen overtime back to back for weeks or months at a time. Then you end up unemployed for months at a time, gearing up for the next onslaught of work. Either always traveling for the job in the middle of nowhere or stuck in a studio. We say the shit runs downhill, so usually anyone in a higher position feels the need to belittle you. Barely anyone likes to take accountability and will quickly pass on the blame if they can, again usually to someone down the chain. Fast-paced, high-pressure environments, crazy amounts of money riding on projects. Lots of substance abuse and affairs, rap parties especially go crazy. The city I'm from has a good film community, so I've had a blast so far, but have definitely endured abuse from the occasional interstate folk and heard other crazy horror stories. Prison guards. Honestly shocked no one has mentioned the music industry /scene and at every level. Drug and alcohol abuse, domestic violence, sociopathy and narcissistic abuse, bullying, gatekeeping, rape, etc., especially at the local level in everyone's local music scene. Even the hipsters the musicians date and all their friends, toxic AF. Love that everyone is just naming every job ever. People in the restaurant industry seem to develop substance abuses very frequently. I don't think the industry attracts those people, but rather the stress of the job combined with the availability of alcohol and other drugs create the perfect storm. Politicians. Healthcare. Some of the best providers I have ever met have very interesting life stories or fucked up pasts. Doctors. It is quite a journey, but it changes personalities a lot, and one day, you've become this cynical, rude person who is at high risk to ruin your personal life. They have one of the highest suicide rates, and yet, they work in multiple jobs, learn and study all their life. It is interesting, but they have to sacrifice a lot, including their family time, and it affects everybody. Also, if you do SMTH wrong, you'll hear about it a lot, and quite rarely they'll say thank you. I'm in medical and I'd like to nominate my field for having plenty of fucked up people in it. Most of us are jaded and have pretty dark humor. What happened to the bully in your class? Went to college, got into drugs, lost his scholarship and got kicked out. Last I saw he's working construction and is making duck faces on his profile pic on Facebook. Arrested for attempted rape on a girl from another class. She did an insane amount of growing up during college, including having to uproot her whole life to care for her family after her mom died suddenly. She reached out to me and others I know personally and directly addressed the bullying. We went out to lunch, she bought, and she was incredibly honest. Apologizing and acknowledging what she did and why it was wrong. She's now running a successful animal rescue organization with her long-term boyfriend and I wish her nothing but happiness. One is long dead from a drug deal gone bad. Another is a big-bellied deputy sheriff who was kicked off the force after decades of questionable behavior. He drove drunk, got in a wreck, and is now paralyzed from the waist down. He is still a bully, but now he's an online bully. The accident seems to have made him feel even more justified in being a prick. The boy bully married the girl bully, they had a kid then divorced. Shocking. In jail for strangling his girlfriend. Thankfully she survived. He is in Leavenworth serving a life sentence for murder. No one was surprised when they found this out. He was killed shortly after being released from prison. He apparently had a beef with someone and went to their house with a gun, kicked in their front door, and was immediately shot and killed. He died the summer after graduating high school. Mixed too many drugs and alcohol at a party. Very sad for his younger brother who was a great person despite his brother. I kid you not, we had a 5-foot-tall bully in our school. He gained favor with some of the bigger bullies, and I suppose that afforded him carte blanche to act like them. Anyways, a few short years after HS, he fucked with the wrong dude at a party and they followed him home and shot him dead on his mom's front lawn. His father was caught stealing millions from the community. Dad was a wealth manager and all his clients were friends and neighbors in a sort of small town. The family was really put through the ringer of embarrassment and the bully was a wreck for a long time. I guess he realized all the wealth, and arrogance, that he grew up with was stolen from everyone he knew. I saw him years later and it was like seeing a different person. He had changed his name, walked differently and held himself with a different posture. We spoke for a few minutes and it was almost like he was genuinely interested in me. He didn't go out and say sorry for what he had done but it seemed like he wanted to, but though it would be tacky, maybe I'm reading too much into that interaction, but it was a little weird. It was like he had been forcing himself to be an actual nice guy. The kid who used to beat me up every day in 3rd grade I heard crashed a motorcycle and lost both his testicles. So he's got that going for him, which is not nice. He now owns his father's huge, massively lucrative construction CO. Which is exactly what he said he was going to do and also let us know how much richer he was going to be than us. So yeah, it sucks BC, it came true. I saw him rush the field at an NFL game and get arrested. Good times.